feeds that like the fear of rejection is like, oh, I'm so scared, like what if they say no, like what if this closed door happens, and then we isolate to avoid that rejection, but then we're lonely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So at some point you have to say, and I'm borrowing this from Mel Robbins, this is her theory, not mine, but you just got to say let them,
Mm.
like let them close the door, let them say no, like that's their prerogative. If they do that, like that's on them, that's not on you. That doesn't take away your value, your intrinsic value as a human being made in
Mm.
the image of God, you know. And then once you say let them, then you say let me do what I can to just build friendships elsewhere, to keep searching, to keep reaping, to keep putting my efforts out there. Because eventually, it's like with anything, you put effort in, and sometimes you don't always get results right away.
Right.
And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not working. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means that that's life. Life
Mm.
isn't always going to give you what you want right away. Sometimes it does, and it's awesome. Sometimes it's like you put something in and you get something out of it, exactly what you want, and you're like, I think it just starts with, I think there's so many of us that just think like, oh, like I read this book. Let me go back a little bit. I read this book
Yeah.
called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And it was really helpful for me in just learning about adult friendships. Because what she breaks down in the book is that, like, when we're growing up in like public school or wherever we're growing up in community like that, there's a group of us kids that grow up and we go through the same steps together. And so that brings community, that brings oneness and friendship and that intimacy that so many people think that they'll carry into their adulthood. But adult friendships are so much different than child relationships, because people move, people get married, people have kids, their parents get sick, and you lose touch, and then you're in a place and you don't recognize anybody, and it's not like you all go through the same stages together like you used to in public school. So it's just different, it's weird. But I think, and something she talks about in that book is just how to step out of that, is just to realize that people a lot of times aren't coming to, like, I don't know, this might sound a little harsh, but like to save you from your
Mm.
loneliness. Like you have to take ownership of it and be like, okay, I am
God
sitting alone. Sees you
Ooh.
even when you feel invisible. God sees you. God loves you. God is cozying up right next to you. He loves you so much, more than any man, woman, child, anybody could ever love you. And he's literally like this close. Like if I could make my fingers even closer, I
Yeah.
would, just to demonstrate how close he is to you, my sister, my dear sisters. Um, don't feel like you have to fill the void in your heart with a man,
Mm.
because that void is not meant for a human. That's meant for the divine. That's meant for the universal love, the being of love of the universe. That's meant for God to rest there in your heart and fill you and make you like a spring of living water.
Okay.
Loneliness feeds that, like the fear of rejection is like, oh, I'm so scared, like what if they say no, like what if this closed door happens, and then we isolate to avoid that rejection, but then we're lonely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So at some point you have to say, and I'm borrowing this from Mel Robbins, this is her theory, not mine, but you just got to say let them,
Mm.
like let them close the door, let them say no, like that's their prerogative. If they do that, Like, that's on them. That's not on you. That doesn't take away your value, your intrinsic value as a human being made in
Mm.
the image of God, you know? And then once you say let them, then you say let me do what I can to just build friendships elsewhere, to keep searching, to keep reaping, to keep putting my efforts out there. Because eventually, it's like with anything, you put effort in, and sometimes you don't always get results right away.
Right.
And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not working. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means that that's life. Life
Mm.
isn't always going to give you what you want right away. Sometimes it does, and it's awesome. Sometimes it's like you put something in and you get something out of it, exactly what you want. And like learning how to just be still,
Mm.
just learning to be still and surrendered and wait on God. That's
Mm.
hard. That's hard for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Um, because we want to take matters into our own hands. We're like, God, I'm tired of waiting for a relationship. I'm tired of waiting for this. I'm tired of waiting for that. And I get it. I We all get that way. You know, it's like the human condition. We just want to keep running ahead. You
Yeah.
know, but I think, and one of the songs that I wrote that's on Spotify is called Wait.
Uh-huh.
It's a song written in the voice of Jesus.
Oh.
And so it's God, it's Jesus imploring us to wait on him and to slow
Mm.
down. And so the chorus goes something like, "Oh, you impatient heart, how long will you chase? How long will you run? How long will it take for you to realize you can't be the one?
Mm.
Slow down. You're wearing yourself out." You know? And so the song itself is very slow and meditative. And I, I think sometimes we get so agitated sitting and being still. And honestly, it's pride. It's
Oh.
pride and just not trusting that God will provide, thinking
Mm.
that our ways are better than his ways, you know? And that's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that God is so amazing and so gentle with us. And he just wants to sit with us and
Mm.
just be with us and breathe with us and experience life with us.
Mm.
You know, like that's the whole
Put
point
in
of
the
Jesus.
batteries and then we're good to go.
Oh,
Software
goodness.
update.
Oh, my goodness.
So when it comes with the next step in dating,
Hmm.
because there are great guys, but
Hmm.
they may not be great for you.
True. Very true. And I think what helped me when I was in my dating phase and just kind of I kept an open mind, and that's why I go back to just having that wholeness and groundedness in who you are and who God is with you, because ultimately God is your husband first. He is the lover of your soul first. And so um, with that, just have that image in mind, and not like you're looking for a completely like flawless human being, because that doesn't exist, right? But you do want to look for someone that is God fearing
Mm.
and just respects you and cares for you and cares for your faith
Yeah.
even more so. Um, and I feel so lucky because my movement of churches, we have a dating website. And so I was able to just date within our movement. And, you know, it's one of those things where you, I don't want to say this, you have an open mind and you just start with friendship first.
Mm.
You know, you just decide to be a good friend to your brothers. And I think when you get to that place where it doesn't feel like this scarcity, like when you get to
Mm-hmm.
this place about dating where it doesn't feel like you're coming from a place of lack,
Mm-hmm.
you're coming from a place of abundance, and like I'm good either way, kind
Yeah.
of like that. Like that's kind of when God blesses you with someone. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like, oh, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? It doesn't have to be awkward like that, you know? You just start by like meeting people at your local coffee shop and just complimenting them on something. And then just being honest, like, hey, I've lived here for about a year. I don't know anybody. Like, how do you find friends in this area? How long have you lived here and all this? Like that's how you build that rapport and that connection. You have to be the one to be like, okay, no one's gonna come and just knock on my door and be like, I want to be your friend. Like it's nice to think of. It's like movies, but it's not real. Most of us are very much hermits, and we don't really talk to other people unless we're spoken to. And
Yeah.
so we have to be the ones to step up and be like, okay, I'm going to take control of my relationships and do something about my
So
loneliness.
when it comes, when you're describing the words of abundance and wholeness and all those adjectives, how does one get to that point?
Yeah, so it starts first with awareness, being
Mm,
aware of who you are and who God created you to be, and also just being honest with yourself and God about where you are in your singleness journey. Because I think there's a lot of women. I was there before I got married. I was single for goodness a whole stretch of like 5 years, and so that journey I had to learn to grieve where I was and to accept it and have those honest, raw prayers with God. Because for me, singleness felt like a waiting room, as I'm sure many women feel that way too. Just like they're just kind of waiting. How I described it in one interview, and I thought it was very relatable to myself, especially, is it's like when you have a litter of puppies in a box,
mhm.
and and you're one of those puppies, and you see all these other puppies get picked,
Mm,
and you're just waiting for your turn to be adopted. And so for me, that's how it was being single for a long time. And it wasn't until I got to a place of surrender and
mm,
peace and just trust in where God had me and really learned to bloom where I was planted that I was able to move to the next step and move forward and find someone who is now my husband. It was only until God really refined me in that time of singleness that I was able to be ready, even
mm.
just mentally, emotionally, spiritually ready for a
To perhaps
relationship.
approach relationships.
Yeah.
What is different from what was to what is today, when it comes
Mm.
to us women, men, and how we approach relationships? What do you see that's different?
Yeah, I think our struggle in this day and age is that we're very lonely. Like we have
Mm,
all this social media, we have all this connection, but we're not really connected.
mm,
And I feel like back in the day, um, they didn't have the internet, and so they really hunkered down in where they were and really deepened those relationships where they were. And I think
mm.
it's easy. I know it is easy for me to just um, have friendships around me that are not as deep or not as meaningful as the ones that I have like around the world,
Yeah, yeah,
you know? And not that there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's just different. You
yeah.
know, it's a different culture, it's a different society. And so I think for those of us
It
that really
teaches.
you that you are enough simply because he made you. and that you don't need a relationship. That's the whole point of my relationship coaching, is like, you don't really need a relationship to feel whole, to feel safe, to feel
Mm.
wanted. Like, God provides all that for you and more,
We'll talk
you
about
know.
music, but you are a relationship coach, and this is the season for relationships. It's funny because
Mm.
like summertime is like single season because you're at the beach. Hey, it's warm. Hey, let's go out. Woo.
Yeah, right.
But the holidays is cozy time, and
Mm.
and then also the end of the year, New Year's coming up. So, it's a lot of reflection. It's a time for reflection when it comes to our lives.
Hmm.
So, first thing is first, how do you help us single ladies as far as navigating with relationships?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as a relationship coach, my goal is to help single women, particularly single Christian women, feel whole and content
Mm,
and joyful and fulfilled in their singleness, even before they get into a relationship.
mm,
So that's my goal, is I try to help women get to a place of wholeness and abundance in who
mm,
they are and who God created them to be, so that, if and when it's in God's will for a man to come into their lives, that they'll be ready, and it's not going to be toxic, it's not going to be addictive, it's not going to be codependent, any of that stuff, because they'll be so centered and grounded in themselves and God,
mm.
that it'll be just two whole people coming together and being yoked together as God intended.